Hello and welcome back to the OT podcast. My co-host today, Owen Reed. Normally the host in this one as well. This is my week to do this, so
How could you do this?
I know the
There's
Lombardi Trophy.
Where is it?
I'm going to get it because it's going to you once again.
Yeah!
A 13-2 record for Owen last week. I
Thank
went
you,
12-3.
Cardinals.
The Cardinals with a last-second win to give Owen the trophy and give themselves a chance in that division that has looked god-awful to start the season.
Oh, yes.
Speaking of that division, kicking off on Thursday Night Football, 8:15 p.m. on Amazon Prime, we have the Los Angeles Rams of the NFC West, the division we were just mentioning, and the Minnesota Vikings in the toughest division in all of football right now, the NFC North. Taking the road are the Rams, looking to get this one back into their favor a little bit. They do have a favorable schedule after this, so if they do lose, there's a chance they could still salvage the season, but it is believed that this is the week that will tell us whether or not Cooper Kupp gets dealt. This is a very important game for the Rams in that regard. Who do you have winning? It is in Los Angeles, so the Rams will be at home. Who gets this one done? Vikings or the Rams?
Going back to that Lions-Vikings game last week.
What a game.
It was a very fun game. It was a great game. And what it showed me is that the Vikings are not going to go anywhere this season. Like, that showed me, if anything, the Vikings are going to be at least making a wild card spot this season, I feel like. Vikings, I don't know like what they got cooking over there, but it's great. And as for the Rams, they beat up a very lowly Raiders team. They almost lost to them. It got close near the end.
Yeah.
Just a little bit worrisome. But Cooper Kupp is back, so it's going to be fine.
You
but
wonder if
no.
Aiden O'Connell.
Well, O'Connell isn't. Yeah. He got injured.
I know. I'm saying if O'Connell plays, do they win? Who knows?
I don't know.
I think it's closer of an argument.
But I'll tell you who is not winning this week. It's not the Rams. The Rams are not winning this week. I'm going to go with the Minnesota Vikings winning this one. Again, like I said, the Vikings they're a really good football team, and even though their roster may not be like amazing, it's certainly starting to look that way with how they've been playing this first month and a half. So give me the Vikings over the LA Rams, and Cooper Kupp might play his last game as an LA Ram this week.
Ooh, tough statement to say. If you want his scores, you can always go to his YouTube slideshow. You'll probably see it after this video is uploaded anyway. So my thoughts on this game, I think that the Rams are one of those teams right now where they're so beaten up, it's going to be very difficult. You're going against a Vikings team that's looked very good all season. They just had their first loss last week. And I understand there's been a lot of people, including myself, that believe that the Vikings did not look that great last week. And I still believe that to this moment right now. They did not. They got that defensive touchdown. If it wasn't for that, they would have lost this game by 2 scores. They would have lost this game by 2 scores if it wasn't for a defensive touchdown.
Yeah, but their defense is that good.
I don't know, though.
Even though they gave up 31 points, I mean, it's still a tough defense.
And really, at the same time, like, the Lions did what they wanted to this defense for 90% of this game.
Lions are, like, on fire, dude.
I know. I know. And that's exactly why I'm still going to lean Vikings in this game. It's going to be very hard for the Rams to win this one, even though they are at home. This is a game for Sam Darnold and the Vikings. They're going to bounce back on a short week. I have 23-16. I think it'll be a lot closer than people expect. Only because the Vikings seem to constantly crap the bed in the second half of these games. It feels like that's the big reason why they aren't as big of a contender as many people think they can be. If they can figure that out, I feel like they're a lot like the Bills, where, like, you know, a lot of people have said whether or not they're going to be a contender this season.
Both 0-4 in Super Bowls.
Okay, yeah, had to throw that out there. Yeah. But on top of that, though, these two teams just can't seem to put together a full game, and it feels like the Vikings are just constantly underperforming in the second half. I feel like the Rams are going to exploit that, keep this game a little bit closer in the second half. But I think in the end, Minnesota gets the job done, as we both predict. The Vikings taking down the Rams on Thursday night.
Yep.
Moving into the 1 o'clock window on Sunday. No early morning game this week, guys. Sorry, next week we'll have the Giants and Panthers. So.
Oh,
I know.
Should have ruined my day.
Yeah, right. So, be happy, especially for you Germans out there, you know. Anyway, moving on. We have the Packers and the Jaguars from Jacksonville Jaguars dismantling the Texans last week. Not really. They barely move on with a win at the end by Brandon McManus, who I did not know was on the team until right at the end. But at the same time, you have the Jacksonville Jaguars coming off an impressive win. Finally, maybe salvaging their season, but this is a tough Packers team. You're on home soil. Maybe this is a chance to get the job done. But do the Packers win this one against another AFC South foe, or do the Jacksonville Jaguars keep the momentum rolling?
You know, I'm going to have another bold prediction here. Like I said out for the Thursday night game, that was probably going to be Cooper Kupp's last game as an LA Ram. I think this is going to be Doug Peterson's last game.
This is not
as the
a bold
Jaguars
prediction.
head coach. Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it could be. Could be bold prediction.
Their offensive coordinator's gone after this week, too. I cannot remember his name off the top of my head, but he is most likely gone as well.
But yeah.
Hopefully.
With that being said, I think you guys can get the picture here. I got the Packers winning this one. Packers had another pretty good performance last week. Tucker Kraft got a touchdown, which I know you were very happy about last week. Barely getting by the Texans, but you know, guys, how
it's a very good Houston team.
Yeah, so. I was gonna say, you guys know how I feel about Nico Collins, and the Texans. So
Nico Collins specifically.
Yeah, I don't know why I said his name. I'm not gonna lie.
He didn't even play.
I know, but that's what my point that I was getting at was the reason why I picked the Packers last week is because there's no Nico Collins. But the fact the Texans almost still won that game without him is crazy. But as for the Jaguars, again, I really don't think they are that team this year. Sure, they destroyed a Patriots football team, but this Patriots football team is bad. It's really bad, like the New England football team.
Yeah,
Just
stop. No.
Yeah, even though they did look impressive, I can't really give much credit to them because of the opponent that they played. And plus, they were able to stay in London 1 week longer than the Patriots, so they didn't have as much jet lag there. Maybe they will, even coming back home to Jacksonville and having to adjust to the time again. So just not a whole lot going in favor of the Jaguars right here. So give me the Packers to improve to 6-2 and keep fighting in the NFC North.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree here. I think that the Green Bay Packers are one of the best teams in football. In my opinion, they solidified that last week. I understand they did not have Nico Collins, but that is still a very good Houston team outside of him. They do have Diggs, they do have Tank Dell, they do have Dalton Schultz, Joe Mixon. They have pieces on offense, even though Nico Collins did not play.
Oh, yeah.
But at the same time, this is a Jacksonville team that's so desperate right now. This is a team that really, really needs something. But I don't think that they're going to get it this week. It's going to be very difficult. You're going up against a Green Bay team that's looking to improve to 6-2, keep their bid for potentially winning this division alive. Especially if we have the Vikings winning Thursday night, they have to keep pace with the Vikings still, especially since they lost to them already.
And the Lions too. We got to keep pace with them too.
Yeah, but especially for right now, I'd say especially the Vikings because the Vikings beat them head to head. So that is very important game for the Packers in this one. The Jacksonville Jaguars are going to get their doors blown off in this game. 31-17 is my score prediction. I think it could even be worse than that, if I'm being honest. And if you look at last week, and I understand I have Tucker Kraft in fantasy, obviously, but I think that Tucker Kraft probably has another big week because Hunter Henry went off last week against this Jacksonville defense. Jacksonville could not stop him at all last week. Hunter Henry was just going off the entire game. Drake May looked solid. And as a rookie quarterback to play that well against the Jacksonville defense, I think that it's only going to be eons better if you're the Packers right now with Matt LaFleur, one of the best head coaches in the league on the offensive side. And on top of that, you have Jordan Love. You have a receiver by committee room right now with Dobbs and all of them. And I think that this is a very good game for the Green Bay Packers. They're going to blow their doors off, and I think that Doug Peterson's gone after this week. I feel like it's going to be very hard to keep him after the start they've had, and the only real way you can win this game if you're Jacksonville is to start the game off with the lead and, just kind of work off the play action like you did last week. But as you mentioned with the jet lag, it's going to be very interesting to see what they do. I think that they're going to be extremely exhausted and fatigued coming back over from London, especially after 2 weeks there. The adjustment's going to be 10 times harder now.
Oh, yeah.
So realistically, I think that the Packers win this one handily. 31-17 is my score prediction, but I think it could be worse in the end. So with that being said, now we are 2-2. Same, I guess.
2 for 2?
Yeah, 2 for 2. There you go.
There you go.
Next week we have next week. Oh my gosh. Next game we have is the Dolphins and the Cardinals. This will be the game that Tua Tagovailoa finally returns to the football field. No guardian cap, as he mentioned in his press conference. And then on the opposite side, you have the Cardinals, who have Dennis Gardeck, who ended up getting injured on a punt last week, tore his ACL. He was the team's best defensive player, man. He had 3 sacks, an interception, a forced fumble, and 22 tackles on the season. Like,
poor Cardinals.
Like, I feel so bad for Gardeck specifically. He was having a career year, a potential chance to finally get a bag in the NFL. I mean, he's been in the league for not really long at all. So realistically, he still has a chance to make that return again, next season, I guess. But I'm gonna have to lean with the Dolphins in this one. I don't know what your thoughts are, but Dolphins Cardinals.
Yeah, you accidentally gave your pick already.
No, I didn't accidentally do that.
But first off, I want to give my big thank you to the Arizona Cardinals for making this trophy happen last week. I much greatly appreciate it. I want to give some hope here to Cardinals fans. There are one game back of the first place in the division because
Not even.
Yeah, Seattle's 4-3, and they're
Seattle's
first place.
got the Bills.
Yeah, and they got the Bills this week. So the door, I feel like, is in the Niners have been playing well, so I feel like the NFC West is wide open right now. Not saying the Cardinals are going to win it.
Even if the 49ers win this week and the Cardinals win, the Seahawks lose, the Cardinals would be first in the division.
Because
they beat the 49ers.
Yeah, they beat the 49ers head-to-head. So
they beat the Cardinals. Yes, they beat themselves.
This is a pretty big week here for the Cardinals. But now going to the negative, I think you're going to lose this week.
Damn.
The Dolphins have not looked good, but Tua is coming back.
Exactly.
And when Tua is in the offense, we have all learned by seeing these backup quarterbacks in this offense that they need
garbage.
Tua, because Tua is really the nucleus.
Tua what?
Okay. Tua really is the nucleus of the offense, and a lot of people kind of hated to admit it because, any quarterback can play well in that system. Well, even though they kind of weren't the best quarterbacks that played after Tua in that system, they still couldn't do anything.
They got the wrong fit. If they would have got Joe Flacco in the offseason, these Dolphins would still be a contender. They just need a quarterback with accuracy in that system. And that's the problem, is the quarterbacks they signed are not quarterbacks.
It's always hard to find a backup quarterback, though. There's very few teams that have that as a backup.
Exactly.
But, I'm going to have to give this to the Dolphins, really only because I believe that this offense will pick up its speed as soon as Tua comes back. There might be some rust on Tua's end, trying to, get the ball out and everything. But if the defense can do their part and hold the Cardinals, kind of to, a similar score that the Cardinals got last week against the Chargers, I feel like they got a pretty good shot to win.
He has 17 points with the Cardinals. I'm kidding.
Yeah, I didn't make my scores yet, actually.
He's slacking,
sorry.
Man.
Yeah, I'm very
slacking completely today, man. He didn't even have his notes ready when we came in.
Okay, I did by the time the podcast started, so it's fine.
I mean,
it's
fine. Because we had to wait for the podcast.
Give me the Dolphins to win. Why do you have the Dolphins winning?
For starters, the Cardinals won last week, and I will give them their flowers, and your flowers for predicting that as well.
Yes.
But here's the only issue. The Cardinals have been one of the most inconsistent teams all season long.
What?
And on top of that, the Miami Dolphins are going to get Tua Tagovailoa back this week. They finally get their quarterback back. I think this is a game where, if you're the Miami Dolphins, this is a game you deem as must win. This is a game he's finally coming back from injury. You finally have no more excuses. This is your chance to go out and prove what you can do. And if you're the Cardinals, their offense hasn't looked great at times, especially against better corners. And this week they're going to be playing Javon Holland, the safety from Oregon, and Jalen Ramsey as well. So I don't think that they're going to have too great of a week on the receiving end. That being said, they could maybe expose them with the tight end, Trey McBride. I'm just not quite sure how this game's going to go for the offensive side for the Cardinals. But I think this is a game where they're going to rally around Tua, because this is his first game back from injury. This is a game they're going to want to win so bad for him. And this defense is going to live up to the hype. They're going to come out and they're going to play very good. As I mentioned with Gardeck being injured, who do they really have on defense now? They have almost nobody on that defensive side of the ball. It's been very upsetting. They also have Demerson, Taylor Demerson, the rookie from Texas Tech. He looked phenomenal, the safety as well, on the opposite side of Budda Baker. So even if they move on from Baker, they have a replacement in Demerson. So I do think that that'll be interesting to see for them. Miami wins this one this week, though, 24-20. I think it'll be a close game. I think if the Cardinals were a little bit more consistent this year, this could be the stretch where they finally get to that consistency. But I have to lean with my gut here, and my gut says Dolphins. So give me Miami in this one. As we move into another couple of AFC East teams, the Patriots and the Jets, they match up this week. Drake May made his first career, I guess, appearance against the Jets last time these two teams played. The Jets are now on the road for this one in New England. Do we see a different result, or do we see the exact same result as Devontae Adams and the Jets look to salvage their season? I don't think this is outlandish to say, if they lose this week, it's over.
Well, that definitely is a thing that could happen this week, is the Jets losing yet again. But
got it. So you don't.
I feel like it's a little. I don't know, man. I feel every week I've been picking the Jets, and they're still losing and losing and losing. But now you're at one of the teams that are one of the worst teams in the league right now, even though their offenses look better with Drake May in the fold. But and like you said,
defenses looked worse, which is funny to me.
I know. Zach Wilson had a better record last season than Aaron Rodgers does this year, which is insane.
Yeah.
But
you had them at 4-3.
I mean, the Jets have to win this game, right? Like, they got to win this game, you know? This is literally a must-win. Like you said, if they don't
Jeff
win
Ulbrich
this game,
gets
it's over.
fired. No. Fire their second coach of the season.
Aaron Rodgers is the new head coach.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
But yeah, I'm going to have to go with the Jets in this one. They just have too much. I have been saying it every single week, and it hasn't been working out. But the Patriots can easily win this game, but Jets have too much firepower. They have too many reasons, really to not win this game, if I said that correctly. But the Jets, they just I really don't know what else really to say for them. They have really nothing going for them well at all right now. I feel like the Jets just have to win this week. If they don't, it's like all hell breaks loose for the third time.
Yeah, exactly. I think they're playing like a board game here. They rolled the dice, they landed on one of those mystery cards, and they picked it up, and it says free win on it. I think this is a game where you can't lose this one if you're the Jets. This is a free win. You have to have this one. You have Devontae Adams and stuff now, so realistically, yeah, right. I'm Reddick as well, so that's why I'm saying and stuff. But I do think that because that's a very complicated situation. But I do think that the Jets get the job done in this one. I have 28-14. I think New England has not looked great this season. Obviously, Drake May's made the offense a little bit better, but the defense is looking atrocious right now, giving up at least 36 points the last 2 weeks. 36 last week to the Jags, and then the week prior 41 to Houston. So, and that's not really a good Jags offense that we're talking about either. I understand for the Houston point, but for the Jags, man, that is not a good Jacksonville offense the way they've been playing this season so far. And obviously the Jets have had a lot of dysfunction. They haven't been that great. The reason why they traded for Aaron Rodgers' little butt buddy Devontae Adams, but they got smoked last week against Pittsburgh. This is a must-win game if they want to salvage their season, and I think they get the job done on the road in New England, 28-14, to improve to 3-5. With that being said, we move to another division rivalry matchup this week: the Browns and the Ravens. No more Deshaun Watson for the Cleveland Browns, but real quick, I do want to mention it is funny in my own personal belief. I think it's a little funny that they booed. They cheered for Watson getting injured, but at the same time, I think it is very messed up.
Yeah.
I understand that he is a piece of shit human being, and I understand that very, very, very much so. But the only issue I have is once they first traded for Deshaun Watson, they did not boo the organization for trading for a piece of shit human being because they thought he was going to be a good football player. And now that he's not a good football player and a piece of shit, now they're mad. And see, that's the problem, is you should have been booing him from the beginning. If you were booing him from the beginning and then you cheer that he gets injured, congratulations, I would not have any issues. But the fact that you were like, oh, well, it's Deshaun Watson, he's such a great player. And now that he's not a great player on the field, now you guys want to, do all these things. I think that's actually just absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
If you're a Browns fan, not even a Browns fan, just if you're the Browns in general, this is the biggest piece of shit moment I've ever seen in my life. To root on someone's downfall. I understand all the backlash he's received, all the things like that, but this is a very big situation for me. It makes me upset. And moving into the game, I guess, aspect-wise, I believe this will be Jameis Winston's show.
Yeah, it is. It will.
Assuming. So, for the Ravens, This is a game where you've been on a burner as of late. You just blew the doors off with Tampa Bay last week.
And blew the receivers off the roster.
Yeah, I know, literally 2 of them. But I do think that this is a game for Baltimore. They're on the road in Cleveland. This is always sketchy into the division games. Oh, jeez, if I could speak. But in the division games, it's always sketchy in the AFC North. You never really know who could come out with what. I mean, last season, the Browns came out with a win against the Ravens. Do they do it again here, or do the Ravens win this one and improve their record further?
Yeah, it's only going to be sketchy for one team, and it's the Browns. They do have Jameis Winston playing now, which a lot of Browns fans have wanted for like the longest time now. So
of course, last week they decided to make him the third-string quarterback.
I know, that's the one week.
Okay.
I know, right? Knocks it off. But yeah, Nick Chubb is back. He had a touchdown last week, so congratulations to anyone who had him in fantasy. He got a touchdown for them. Congratulations on that.
He only got 9 points.
Yeah, I got DeAndre Hopkins, so screw off. Anyways,
I'd throw that out there.
Yeah, we'll get to that later. Like Mahomes throwing out to DeAndre Hopkins.
Okay, bro.
Anyways, the Ravens are going to dismantle them. They are going to absolutely kill them. They are going to cut off their fingers and toes and step on them repeatedly for 3 hours straight.
Jesus.
With how the Ravens have been playing.
That's the craziest thing I've ever heard you say.
I'm sorry, like you can't pick the Browns to win this game, like unless you're
yeah,
like
I'm gonna go with the Browns. No.
Unless like you're some like Jameis Winston ultra fan, there's like no way anyone will be picking the Browns to win this week. And I'm sorry, Browns fans, but you got to be expecting a blowout here too.
I'm not sorry to the Browns fans at all.
Do you think Myles Garrett's going to be dealt before this game?
I doubt it. I don't think so.
I don't think he's even going to be traded, if I'm going to be honest with you.
I don't think it'd be the smart move. But getting back to the game aspect side of things, I also have the Ravens winning this one. I think they win comfortably. 31-13 is my score prediction.
That's it?
If Watson, yeah, I know. But if Watson was playing this game, then I'd probably have him at like 3, maybe even 6 points. This Ravens defense has not looked good, though, this season so far. I feel like that's been an underlying thing that nobody's really been talking about because of how good they've like been the last couple weeks and stuff. But this defense is not the same defense we saw last season that literally like made life a living hell for every single quarterback they went up against. This is a team right now that's winning because of that Ravens offense right now. That's just what it is. Jackson and Henry have been killing it, and this is a game right now where you have a chance to get right on defense. This is a Browns team that's got a lot of dysfunction around the organization. They have a new quarterback in there. Nick Chubb is back in the lineup, so they're probably going to run the ball a lot. But this is your chance, if you're the Ravens, to finally get back on track on the defensive side of the ball. And I think they do that in this one. 31-13 is my score. I think the Ravens just win this one comfortably. Another game where I feel like they just got to, like, it's like life is just, I don't know how to explain this, but I think the Ravens are just one of those teams that are destined to just keep moving. I think this is one where you'd have to take a very, very good team to beat the Ravens at the state they are at right now. So give me Baltimore in this one. It might be a few weeks before we see another Ravens loss. Maybe a couple, like 6,
Might be a couple of months.
Maybe a month, literally. But I think the Ravens win this one. We're going to move into another AFC North team, that being the Cincinnati Bengals at home for this game against the Philadelphia Eagles. Eagles finally looked to put it together on offense last week with a 28-3 win against the Giants, albeit it is the Giants that they went up against. And they didn't look too great in the first half as the pass rush was getting home early and often for the Giants. But despite that, the Cincinnati Bengals on the opposite side of the ball here, they, with a big win last week in a game that was one of the worst of the week with Deshaun Watson going down to injury and Nick Chubb finally returning back to the football field to get his first touchdown in a very long time. However, the Bengals did come away with something that is very rare for them, a win in Cleveland. That is only the second time that Joe Burrow's ever beaten the Cleveland Browns in his career. He is now 2-6 against the Browns after last week, which is just a terrible stat line for a record, I guess. So who do you have in this one? I think this is one of the better games of the week. Obviously, it got flexed out of 425-1 for the Bears Commanders.
Just from Marcus Mariota.
Yeah, no, better not be Marcus Mariota. And then I think that the Bengals and Eagles game is going to be fun. Who do you have winning this one?
This is a really, really interesting game.
Oh, yes.
Both of these teams have underperformed this season, so this is a big game for both of these teams.
The Eagles not as much, but yes.
Well, yeah, because the Bengals have more losses. But yeah, this is especially for the Bengals too, because they're supposed to be really good this season, and they haven't shown it really too much yet. And now they're starting to win games finally, but like their offense got together, but they were still. Hold on, let me backtrack a little bit. The Bengals' offense started playing really well, but their defense was just so bad that they were still losing games.
And now it's the opposite.
And now they're winning because of their defense, but their offense is starting to get a little bit out of function again. And I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to go with the Philadelphia Eagles in this one. It's really tough to pick here. Bengals, I feel like they do have a good shot to win, but just with the inconsistencies all around, I do not believe in the defense whatsoever. Eagles are also a bit of a wild card here too, because they've also been playing a little bit inconsistently, but they are healthy, and that's really important, is that they're healthy. And even though they did beat up on a banged-up Giants team last week, they're looking better every single week now. Like, they're making progress. And for the Bengals, their offense could play good. It could play iffy. It's kind of tough to tell with them right now. But knowing the Cincinnati Bengals and their recent trend in recent years, this is probably going to be one of those games that they win. And then everyone's going to be like, oh my God, the Cincinnati Bengals are back. But I'm going to go with the Philadelphia Eagles winning this one. I do not think the Bengals can overcome their season and get to the playoffs. I do not see that happening. I'm going to say it right now. And I think this is going to be the first game that kind of solidifies it, is the Eagles beating the Bengals in Cincinnati.
I think this is the first time that we're going to disagree this week.
Yeah!
I have the Cincinnati Bengals winning this one.
Free win.
And here, okay, bro. I have the one issue with this Eagles team right now, and that is that they have not done well on the offensive line. Their offensive line has not been that great. Run blocking, yes, but pass blocking, they've left Hurts out to dry. I don't know if you watched any of that game last week, but there was a 95% chance if you were to look at the Giants game last week that it was a sack. Like a 90% chance there was a sack. Whether it be the Eagles or the Giants on defense, it was going to be a sack 95% of the time.
The Giants have a better pass rush than the Bengals do.
Yeah, but they have a man by the name of Trey Hendrickson, who has been absolutely amazing this season so far. And he's not going to go up against Jordan Mailata. He's probably going to go up against whoever they have at the other side of the field for this week, which is just terrible if you're the Eagles. This is a game where you have to have somebody better to block Trey Hendrickson in this game. I don't think they're going to be able to stop him as much as everybody thinks they're going to be able to. Their offensive lines look terrible since Kelsey's retired. I think that this offensive juggernaut that we call the Eagles has been like a team where they're not really as good as everybody's been saying they are. They had 20 points against the Cleveland Browns, who they almost lost to, by the way. And then on top of that, they played the Giants last week, and for the first half, they looked atrocious as well. They only picked it up in the second half, and that was because of Barkley. If it wasn't for Barkley going off in that game was a lot closer than everyone would have thought it was that. Because this is a game for the Eagles that they don't have to win, but if they want to win the division, this is a game that's going to be very important in doing so, because the Commanders could win this week against the Bears. Who knows? So realistically, to keep pace with the Commanders right now, you have to win this game. And then on the opposite side for Cincinnati, obviously this is a huge game for them. They're finally in the contention to be back near the top of their standings. This is a chance to get back into the playoff mix. This is a game right now, and you're at home. Not only are you at home, but this is a game where you can finally shed off the bust label and stuff like that. And I understand their offense hasn't looked that great. But you're going up against the Eagles secondary, who has played garbage every single season, like every single week for the last 2 seasons almost.
Every single season?
Okay. Every single week for like the last for the last season and a half almost now. It's been atrocious from them. I understand you have Quinion Mitchell, but I'm not convinced that they're going to get this game done. I think this is the game where the Eagles really find a way to fuck this up, I guess, to say it bluntly.
I have to put explicit content on the podcast.
Yeah, no, I didn't mean to, but at the same time, I really think that the Cincinnati Bengals are destined to win this game. Nick Sirianni likes to mess up in games that come down to, like, coaching. And in this game, who do I trust more, Nick Sirianni or Zach Taylor? It's Zach Taylor. And I think that the Bengals get the job done at home and improve their record further. This is a game that they have to have, and I think that they get it here. 28-24 is my score prediction. I think the Bengals offense goes off. I think the Eagles do a lot on the running game and then work off play action, which is their best. But if the Bengals take a lead early, like let's say 10-0, 14-3, anything like that, I think this game's immediately over from that point on because they can't work through the offense that they want to work through. And if that happens, then it's basically over. So, moving on to the next game, I doubt we disagree on this one. The Texans taking on the Indianapolis Colts. It was a shaky one the first time these two teams met. Anthony Richardson had the game of his life. Does he have the game of his life a second time and make the Texans lose their second game in a row after only losing one game all season? Or do the Houston Texans get the job done at home?
Yeah, the Colts almost lost to a Tua-less Dolphins team last week at home, might I add. So
yeah,
that pretty much says all you need to hear for this game.
Anthony Richardson's nowhere near as good as people thought.
I mean, he might turn things around this week. I mean, who knows? But
he plays better against Houston.
Apparent for whatever reason, yeah.
He had 2 touchdowns last season against them as well.
But yeah, last week the Texans almost came out with a win in Lambeau without Nico Collins, but they lost in a game-winning field goal to Brandon McManus. And I think that's just almost like a testament to how good this Texans team really is. You hung in there till the end without your number one target, Nico Collins.
And for 90% of that game, that defense was killing the Packers offense.
Yeah, it really was.
They were killing drives.
Yeah, exactly. And it just makes the Texans team feel even scarier because, like, they just have so many weapons that if they lose a piece, they can still win football games.
Right.
That's how many pieces they have in this offense right now. And it's really scary. It's scary for the rest of the league, including the AFC South opponents that they have. That includes the Indianapolis Colts, who they play at home this week. That, again, almost lost to the Dolphins. So give me the Houston Texans to win this game. Again, I'm not sure if it's going to be too close. Richardson will probably struggle in this one. It might be a long game for Colts fans. Give me the Texans.
Yeah, I think that this game will be, I think it'll be a very fun game, I guess, in a lot of aspects. I think this game will be a lot closer than people expect. I guess for 2 different reasons. Anthony Richardson's looked great against Houston in his short career span right now. Last season, he had 2 rushing touchdowns and a passing touchdown against the Texans in that game that he ended up getting injured in and losing him, and they ended up inevitably losing him for the season. So he had 3 touchdowns last season against them. And in week 1, they went in a barn burner that was, I think it was 29-28, something like that. It was very good game right down to the end. So I think this game will be a lot closer, but I still have to go with Houston here. Richardson has been one of the most inconsistent, if not the most inconsistent quarterback all season long so far. I understand he's dealing with that hip issue, but I don't think that's the reason why. It's just kind of how Richardson played it back at Florida as well, and I think it's going to be a trend that we see for at least this season. So I think that the Colts offense will sputter out a little bit. I think Jonathan Taylor's expected to come back this week. Maybe he eases the tension for for himself, I guess. But
Jonathan
for
Taylor.
Anthony Richardson, yeah, right. For Anthony Richardson, though, and then for Houston, you're coming off a loss last week that you can hang your hat on. You had a very good game against the Green Bay Packers. I think that this is a game that you would deem as a must-win because we've seen teams in the past where they start out so strong and then they kind of falter. We just talked about the Eagles. The Eagles last season were one of those teams. So same with the Jaguars, a team literally in the same division. And Houston, if they win the division this year, would be the first team to back-to-back repeat as champs for the first time since 2017. So realistically, it's been a long time since we've seen a team win back-to-back divisions in the AFC South. But Houston's looking to do that this week with a win here against the only other team that's competitive in their division right now, which is the Colts.
Yeah.
And I think they get the job done. They're at home, which makes it that much more convincing for me. I have it 24-21, only because these games are normally so close, but I could definitely see a blowout if all goes wrong for the Colts. So give me Houston in this one as well.
It's kind of crazy that if the Colts win this game, they're going to be first place in the division. That's kind of crazy to think about. Colts are 4-3. Texans are 5-2.
Oh,
this game is for first place.
Oh, I know it's not, because the Texans beat the Colts the first time.
Oh well.
Whoever wins the first head-to-head, if the second head-to-head's a win by the other team, it comes down to who has the better in-division record, and I believe it would be the Texans.
Mm-hmm. Well, it'll make the South more interesting to say the least.
Yes, very, very much so. Moving into another AFC South team, the Tennessee Titans traveled to Detroit this week as the sound effect there really did it in for everybody at home wondering who we will pick for this game. Owen, what are your thoughts on this game, man?
Yeah,
It's certainly a game.
Titans are gonna fly into Detroit, and they're gonna get driven over by countless Fords in this one.
Oh my god.
And they're gonna be eaten, clawed, and pawed by lions. And they're gonna be eaten by the lion.
The corniest thing I've ever heard.
Shitting back out by the lions. The Lions should kill them this week. To say the least, I got another blowout here, if not like an ass whooping here. And plus the Titans just traded DeAndre Hopkins, who even though did absolutely nothing last week, but that's because he was standing on the sidelines for the entire second half of the Bills game last week. But yeah, the Lions, they're looking like one of the best teams in the league. Just beat one of the best teams in the league, being the Minnesota Vikings. And even though the Lions did lose Aiden Hutchinson, they're still winning games. They're still looking really impressive. Jared Goff is right up there from the MVP race. He's probably like, I would say like almost neck and neck with Lamar Jackson right now.
I'd say he's second, and then Allen's third.
Second. But yeah, Jared Goff is very much so in that MVP conversation right now. He's playing out of his mind, and he should continue to this week. I should say this now. This is probably a trap game for Detroit. Coming off a big game like that, and then at home against the struggling Tennessee team.
But Tennessee's defense, bro, I think nobody thought Tennessee's defense was as good as they started the game out against Buffalo last week.
Yeah, we did not give them much credit at all. It's the Titans' defense, is whatever. Then before the game, they're like, they're number one in this category, this category.
Yeah, right, literally.
But yeah, Lions, I got the Lions in this one. I don't think the Titans have a chance in hell.
I don't think so either. I have to go Detroit. 31-14. I think that this game's going to play out a lot like the Bills game did last week, where the Bills started out slow. I think the Lions are going to start out slow. The Titans are going to take advantage, have a lead, potentially like 7-0.
They always start off really good.
Exactly, but I feel like that's the issue for Tennessee is the second half of this game is going to just be Lions touchdown, Lions touchdown, Lions touchdown, etc. I think this is just one of those games for Detroit where I understand they're coming in off a massive win last week. I think this is a game they still have to win. I mean, you have the Vikings winning. We both have the Vikings and Packers both winning. The Bears could potentially win, especially if Jaden Daniels doesn't play. So to keep pace in that amazing NFC North division right now, you have to get the job done in this game. And I think that this is a Dan Campbell-led unit that has looked about as good as they have all of like his tenure. And this is the moment where the Lions just continue to roll through teams, and I think this is just another one in the eventual landslide of the Lions this season. So give me the Detroit Lions, 31-14. Thank you.
If the mic feed can pick that up.
Yeah, I doubt it, but there was clapping in the background. But the Lions do take down the Titans, 31-14 is my score. So give me Detroit in this one as we move into an NFC South showdown between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Atlanta Falcons. What cannot be said that has already been said about this Falcons team? They are just atrocious at moments, and last week was one of those moments.
They're as inconsistent as Anthony Richardson.
Yeah, really. They got cooked by Seattle last week.
The fraud Seattle Seahawks.
Okay, bro. Kenny Walker looked phenomenal last week. Ryan Grubb finally gave him some plays. He's the offensive coordinator. I do think that this is a Falcons team that's desperate for a win, coming off a massive loss that nobody really saw them losing. I think it was like 81% on Yahoo Sports. I don't know how many people like actually do the
Yahoo polls. Sports.
Yeah, that's the only one that I could find that actually does like percentages of like who like. You get to pick whoever wins, and like the percentage was 81-19 in favor of the Falcons over the Seahawks. So, which was by far one of the like highest last week.
Yeah.
So I can't believe that the Falcons blew that one. Their defense did not do that great either. Obviously the offense just very much so inconsistent this season. Obviously they beat the Saints that one game without even scoring an offensive touchdown.
That was impressive.
So yeah, right. Impressively bad for their offense, but impressive in general for the win. But now they got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who they have already beaten, and the Buccaneers are beaten up now. Obviously, Chris Godwin with the dislocated ankle last week, a very gruesome injury. Prayers out to him and his like whole career, really, because he's going to free agency after this year, and he probably lost a lot of money because of that injury. So, unfortunate to see for him. As for Mike Evans, he's been put on, I believe, injured reserve, right?
They said he's not going to be back until after week 11, which is 4 weeks, but they haven't put him on injured reserve yet. So
they won't put him on injured reserve then because it's 4 weeks, yes, but they have the bye week, and the IR would be 4 games, not weeks. So they cannot put him on IR, unfortunately.
That would make sense.
So,
just say IR at this point, though.
Yeah, right. It's basically IR. It's 4 weeks. So for Tampa Bay, this is a game where they have to win if they want to keep their faith in the division race. Really, this is a game that if they lose this one, it's basically over for the division because
not yet.
They've lost both games to the Falcons.
Well, the Falcons are still inconsistent, though. They could drop a couple games and Tampa
but the
Bay
Bucks
could back up.
The Bucks do not have a favorable schedule, bro. They don't.
Yeah, it could be a bit more favorable.
I believe they play the 49ers. Okay, bro. I think they play the 49ers next week, so we'll see how it goes. That'd be hilarious if they traded for Cooper Kupp because I have Cooper Kupp in fantasy. So.
Or if the Bills got 2 Coopers and 1 Kupp.
Okay, bro. I saw that so many places. But moving into this game before we get sidetracked for the final time, Bucks Falcons. Who do you have winning this game?
I want to give my condolences out to Buccaneers fans right now for losing both their starting receivers and their quarterback losing their skill to play football. I'm really sorry about that. Falcons fans blew another game. Shocker, I know.
28-3.
Okay. I didn't say it. He did. The Falcons, I think they're only going to drop the one game. I think they're going to bounce back nicely here in this one, beating up on a beat-up divisional opponent. If Baker Mayfield plays well, like he has done at points in the season, this could definitely be a close game, even without their 2 receivers, their 2 big starting wide receivers. But the Falcons, I think, got this game locked down. Even though it's in Tampa Bay, they're healthy, and the Buccaneers are not. And it's really unfortunate situation for the Bucs, who look like one of the best teams in the league early in the season. Now they're at 4-3, both the receivers out, and facing off against the Falcons for potentially first place. But now, basically, your hands are tied behind your back as you go and fight this one. So it's unfortunate. But yeah, the Falcons probably going to run away with this one.
I don't think they run away. I think this is actually a very close game, and I'm not even going to lie to you. If the Bucs had Mike Evans or Chris Godwin for this game, even one of them, I think that they would win this football game.
But they have
with how the Atlanta Falcons have been playing, especially this last weekend, I really am not confident in their ability to win these big games. Obviously, you're going up against a really, really beat-up Buccaneers team. Even on the defensive side of the ball, they've had some injuries as well, especially in the secondary. So it's not been the greatest run for them, but we're talking about a Falcons team right now that has not looked great, a Falcons defense that kind of finally showed their biggest weakness, which was stopping the run, which, mind you, without 2 of your best receivers, what are you going to do? You're probably going to run the ball a lot more. This game's going to be insane to figure out if the Bucs can remain competitive and if the Falcons are truly frauds. Because the way they showed up last week, it just does not appear like they are one of the teams that everyone who's clamoring about them being this season. Oh, there's a chance that they win the Super Bowl. There's a chance that they even make it to the NFC Championship game. I think you're a wild card exit with how they've been playing so far. Realistically, I hate to say that for Falcons fans. I really do like the Falcons. A soft place in my heart after Matt Ryan and Julio Jones era, which was just amazing football to watch if you watched it. I do think that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, though, they're going to keep this one competitive. Bucky Irving, Rashad White, Sean Tucker, I expect them to get involved early and often. Cade Otton's a name that I've heard floating around so many times. I think this is finally a week he could finally emerge onto the scene. But I have to go with the Atlanta Falcons, as sad as it is to say for the Bucs. I think this is one of those games where it'll be very close right down to the end. It's a division rival game. This is such an important game for the Buccaneers because now they'd fall, I think, 2 games behind in the division just to tie the record, but 3 games technically behind because the Falcons would have the tiebreaker over them with the head-to-head wins. So realistically, this is an uphill climb for the Buccaneers if they fall in this one. So I think they'll give it everything they have, but it's not going to be enough. 24-16, Lions. I'm kidding. Falcons. I was not kidding. I just blanked on it. But Falcons win. So give me the Atlanta Falcons in this one. Moving into another NFC South team, the Saints taking on the Chargers next week. The Chargers coming off a disappointing loss on the road to the Cardinals 17-15. And then on the other side, you have the New Orleans Saints who have looked pretty darn good at the same time. So what are your thoughts on this one as we try to get this done, I guess?
I'm not going to lie. I'm going to be entirely honest. I forgot to write this game down in my notes.
Oh, my God.
But I can still go through the game. Saints, yeah, they are. It's it's pretty upsetting what's happening in there right now because they had such a hopeful season and then it just all went straight downhill. They extended Alvin and Kamara, so they might be good.
24.5.
Yeah, so they might be okay in the next couple of years. I don't know, who knows. But they still have Spencer Rattler at quarterback, and now they're going up against the Chargers team that lost last week and got me my trophy. So thank you, Chargers. I got to thank you guys too. But I'm going to return the favor here. I'm going to have you guys beating the New Orleans Saints here in this one. I think the offense will look a bit better this week, and I think the defense will look a lot better this week because they're going against Spencer Rattler. So there you go. And with how their performance, the Saints against the Broncos was, I'm glad I worked during that game. That's all I can say. But yeah, hopefully for the Saints, Spencer Rattler improves.
Picked a good week to not watch Thursday Night Football.
Yeah, right. Or picked a good week to work.
Yeah.
But hopefully for Saints fans, what you really want to see some improvement from Spencer Rattler to see if maybe he could potentially be the future for your guys' team. But he has to get a good outing here against the Chargers team that has a really nasty defensive line, to say the least. And good luck to you guys, but I got the Chargers winning this one.
Yeah, I also have to go with the Chargers here. I find it hard to, I guess, pick against the Chargers after what happened last week. They were really close in that game despite very much so inconsistent offensive play. They had, if they would have scored just one touchdown on those 5 possessions that they got field goals, they would have won that game. So it's unfortunate for them that it ended up the way it did. But now you're going up against a really beaten up New Orleans Saints team. We were talking about the Bucs. These guys are even more beaten up than them. So realistically, I think that the Chargers bounce back smoothly in this one. 24-10 is my score prediction. It could be even better, but I think this will be a very fun game. I think that these are 2 of the wild card teams, I guess. But give me Herbert and the Chargers to bounce back with a win here at home, even though the fans don't really show that. But I do think that this will be a game that the Chargers get done. As we move into the game of the week, the Bills and the Seahawks. Tom Brady on the call. Who do you have winning this one, I wonder?
Well, at least the Tom Brady isn't going to win the game that involves the Bills and Tom Brady, so that's already a win in itself. But the Seattle was impressive last week.
Seattle?
Yeah, that one Seattle was really good last week.
Yeah, his
and
that was Walker.
And DK Metcalf, but DK Metcalf is not playing this week, so...
Well, he's week to week. He could play, but...
Oh, he could play.
Very slim.
Yeah, very slim. And the Bills, I feel like this is a bit pretty tough having to do entire cross country. They have to go all the way to the northwestern tip of the country to go and play the Seahawks. And Kenneth Walker has a chance to have a really big game here because they don't have DK Metcalf, so they're going to have to lean on the run game a lot more. And like you said, Kenneth Walker had an amazing game last week, and it could very well continue against the Bills' defense that has not been great in terms of stopping the run so far. And Geno Smith still leads the league in passing yards, so I think this could be a bit of an interesting game here. But I'm a homer. I'm still going to have to go with my lovely Buffalo Bills to win this game. Amari Cooper is going to continue to get into the fold, continue to be in this offense more and more. Still got James Cook, still got all of our receivers. Pretty healthy. We'll see if Terrell Bernard plays this week because he got injured last week. So we'll see.
He'll play.
We'll see if he is able to go. Not 100%, but again, we will see. If the Seahawks play like how they did against the Falcons, I feel like this could be a very close game. I really do. But without DK Metcalf and with how kind of inconsistent Seattle's has been, especially on the defensive side of the ball, I'm going to have to go with the Buffalo Bills winning this one.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I can't. Okay, from my point of view, I think this is one of those games that's going to be very close as well. I have the Bills winning this one 27-20. I think this is a very big trap game for the Buffalo Bills, as was Week 7 last season when we played the New England Patriots and lost.
Okay, dude.
I do think that Week 8 this time around, I think that the Bills have a chance to be in contention for a trap game. You're on the road in Seattle against a team that's been running the ball a lot better than they started the season off. Really, Geno Smith can hit you in the passing game as well with the play-action passes. So, realistically, this is going to be a very close game. But Josh Allen and the Bills' offense finally got it going the second half of last week. I'm hoping that can continue into this game. And I think for the Seattle Seahawks, I understand you beat the Falcons. But the Falcons right now, at least in my opinion, have been another one of those fraudulent teams in the NFC. I think that they just haven't been able to figure out the offensive side of the ball yet in Atlanta. I think that that's a big reason why they lost the game that they played last week against the Seahawks. I still don't think the Seahawks are all that great. I think they're a solid team, and realistically, I think this is going to be a game where I'm a little nervous for the simple fact that I've completely crapped on them all season. So realistically, it feels like this is just payback at its finest here, is them beating us. But at the same time, I think if you're the Bills, this is a game you got to win. You got to keep the momentum going. You will. And if you're the Seahawks, this is a game that you could potentially go in at home and take advantage and take care of business and potentially be leading the okay. The NFC West after this division week. Oh my gosh, I can't speak.
We gotta move on here, man.
Yeah, moving on to the next game though. The Commanders and the Bears, a potential game of the week as well. Caleb Williams, the first overall pick, and the second overall pick, Jaden Daniels. Who gets it done in this one? What are your thoughts?
If Jaden Daniels does not play this game,
this gets out of hand quickly.
The Bears are probably going to win this game. But if Jaden Daniels plays, the Commanders are going to win this game.
Whoa.
That's kind of what it comes down to for me right now.
He's going to play. I already know.
Yeah, I think Jaden Daniels will play. Mainly because the NFL flexed it into 4:30, so there's no way they can allow him not to play. So I'm going to have the Commanders winning this one, assuming Daniels
flex the Bengals-Eagles game back.
Twice.
Yeah, right. Flips.
Like 5 minutes after Jaden Daniels' injury.
Reverse.
Yeah.
Reverse.
Yeah, the Commanders absolutely destroyed a terrible Panthers team. Destroyed them almost as much as Andy Dalton's car. That's so messed up.
Yo. We're going to get demonetized now. That was so bad,
I'm
bro.
sorry.
Dude. You can't say that shit. That's actually bad. No. Get into your score. Get into your score.
I don't care. My score's on my YouTube channel. I don't give him my score.
You win. Who wins? Oh my gosh, bro. Who's gonna win?
I already said the Commanders.
You're not gonna say anything else? Just, he got into a car crash. So you think they beat him up just like his car. Got it.
Oh my gosh.
From my side, I have Chicago winning. I think Chicago wins whether Daniels plays or not. I think this is a game that's going to come down to which defense ends up playing better, and I think that is the Chicago Bears, like a million times over. The way the Bears defense has played this season, they have looked phenomenal. I think they continue that this week. I think Jaden Daniels doesn't really get the ability to run out of the pocket and do a lot, so I think this will be one of those games that's very close still. But I have to lean with my gut here, and that says the Chicago Bears 27-24. I think that the Commanders.
We disagree in a second game.
I know.
Look at that.
Yeah, I know. It took you that long to realize.
Yeah.
But I do have the Bears winning this one. As we move into the Chiefs and the Raiders game, first we have to say DeAndre Hopkins traded to the Kansas City Chiefs for a conditional 5th-round pick that could become a 4th-round pick.
Yep.
So.
Big breaking
news.
Not
quite sure what the condition is on that just yet. I don't think anybody's really.
I think
aware.
It depends on how much he plays in the offense or how far the Chiefs make it in the playoffs.
Exactly.
Or
Like
if
they win the Super Bowl or something, it's a 4th-round pick. Who knows?
Right.
But I do think that regardless of if he suits up or not this week, that they win this game. What are your thoughts on this one? And who do you have winning?
The big breaking news that I saw this morning was that DeAndre Hopkins signed with the Bills in my fantasy league this morning because I signed him in fantasy.
Okay.
But if he's going to play this week, if he plays anything, it's going to be a very limited role. He's going to play very few snaps. And I feel like this is a player that kind of the Chiefs exactly needed. Sure, he's a 32-year-old receiver. He hasn't put up crazy numbers the past couple seasons, but look at the quarterback play for him the past couple seasons has not been that good. And he goes to a quarterback who has won Super Bowls, who puts up amazing stats every year, except for this year. But maybe DeAndre Hopkins is that piece to actually make this offense start clicking again, like it has been for the longest time. And now they're going against a Raiders team that has Gardner Minshew at quarterback again because Aiden O'Connell injured his thumb last week. And they almost beat the Rams. They almost did, but
It's the beat up Rams.
it is the beat up Rams.
It's not the Chiefs. MVP Mahomes.
Okay, yeah, stop talking. But Chiefs are gonna win this one. As far as Patrick Mahomes' stat line goes, he might throw an interception or two again, like normal. We'll see.
He throws interceptions more often against division rivals, especially against the Raiders. He had 2 on Christmas last year against the Raiders.
Oh my God, I was
including that pick 6.
Oh, that was amazing, dude.
That was the funniest
so
thing I've ever
fun.
seen. I think it was New Year's Eve, not on Christmas. It was one or the other.
Yeah, I don't know. All I know is that it was like the happiest
And then
day
there's
of my
the
life.
Eagles and Giants game too, which was close. But back on topic here, I have the Kansas City Chiefs dismantling the Raiders on the road like Andy Dalton's car. 28-7, I think the Chiefs get it done. I think this is going to be over by halftime. The Raiders don't have an offense, really. They don't have a running game. They don't have anybody in the passing game if Minshew can't get them the ball. And then on defensive side of the ball, nobody in the linebacking core that's going to be able to get to home. And then on the exact same aspect, I guess, the linebackers also can't cover. So realistically, I don't think that they're going to be able to keep up with the Chiefs in this one. Chiefs get a potential free win, in my opinion, here. As we move into the Broncos-Panthers game, the game that features Andy Dalton and the Denver Broncos.
I'm really going to have to cut that out of this pod. That was too
Did he
bad.
get hit by a Ford Bronco? Because this is the Broncos and Panthers.
I have to cut out a second thing of this podcast, damn it.
That was actually the worst thing I've ever heard you say in my life, bro. That's so messed up.
It's fine, I'm going to cut
Good
it
thing
out.
only 10 people watch this.
That's going to be -2. Oh my gosh.
Who do you think wins and why?
God, just like so quick to the point here.
We have like no time.
Oh my God, I'm gonna go with the Denver Broncos winning this game.
Dude.
Hopefully for the Panthers' sake that Dalton can find his rhythm again and play a bit better than he has in recent weeks. Prayers out to him and his family. I know no one got injured in the accident, but in all seriousness, hope like everything's okay and everything. Hopefully the car didn't get too damaged. In all seriousness, I'm being so dead serious about that.
I know.
Hopefully just a little bumper scrape or whatever. But regardless, you're probably gonna lose this week. You should. Well, not that you should lose, but Denver's been playing pretty well. They're 4-3. Bo Nix has been playing probably as well as he could.
They might make a
Playing as
wild
rookie.
card. That's disgusting.
They very well could. You never know.
If the Bengals don't make a turnaround, really, who is there?
Yeah,
The
right.
Steelers, the Broncos, Chargers, Colts. The hell is this wild card?
Not the Colts. Yeah, give me the Broncos
The
here.
Colts have an easy schedule, bro, to finish the season. They have, like,
we gotta
the
hurry up,
Giants
man.
and
We have
stuff.
class in 22 minutes.
Yeah, 24.
Shut up.
49ers and Cowboys is the next game, but before we get to
You didn't even
that,
give your pick.
Broncos winning
Okay.
this one against the Panthers 24-3. This offense is not going to be able to do anything against this Broncos defense. They've looked amazing all season, and they looked great last week against Spencer Rattler. I think they look great again this week. I think Andy Dalton's not going to have a good game. On top of that, all the turmoil from, like, obviously the car crash, things like that. I think that's going to be a lot of family issues as well that he's going to have going through his mind. So, not going to be at his 100% state in this game. I think the Broncos offense does enough to win this one. I think that this game will be very close at halftime, like maybe 7-3, 10-3, something like that.
Yeah,
But
I could see that.
I think the Broncos just take over in the second half and end this game and put the Panthers to bed. As that moves us into our last two games. Sunday Night Football, the 49ers are at home to take on the Dallas Cowboys in a classic showdown. Who do you have winning this one? And maybe the 49ers could be at the top of the division based off how we have these playing out.
Yeah, I was really torn in this game. As you see right now, I'm switching my pick currently right now.
Oh, what was your pick?
I initially picked the 49ers, but something tells me that the Cowboys are going to win this game. My gut feeling is
Genie
coming
Reed
back
over
for this
here.
one. Huh?
That's a Genie Reed over here.
Genie Reed, yeah.
Hold
'cause
on. You're a Bills fan.
Oh my God, no.
Yeah, I know. Anyway.
No, I'm wearing green. I'm actually a Packers fan. But anyways,
That's the shittiest green.
my gut is currently 1-0 this season. It could very well turn into 2-0 after this
1-1.
week. 49ers, they just give me that vibe. Like a lot of teams that, like especially in the NFC that go to the Super Bowl and don't end up winning. There's been a trend of them struggling the year
Especially
after.
in the NFC, you said?
Yeah, especially in the NFC. Because the Bengals, they continue to play well when they lost.
They-
The only other team that's really made it is the Chiefs. So, and they're great year in and year out. So
yeah, you're talking about a team that's in the middle of a dynasty, and then
Exactly.
a team that expected to be right there in contention every single season.
exactly.
The teams that make it out of the NFC are a lot
But-
weirder.
The 49ers are a really banged up team right now, and sure they did play the undefeated Chiefs, but they did not look good. Brock Purdy was making a lot of mistakes in that game last week, which
He
scares
was.
me a bit. And now going against the Cowboys team that, got their doors blown off last time we saw them play against the Lions. But they have a bye week. They've had time to rest, recuperate, get everything together.
Let
and
it soak in.
Yeah, let it all soak in. And they got to come out here and they got to get a nice impressive win just to get everything back on track, to get all the haters and doubters, get all the media away from them, so they could just get back to focusing on the main goal, which is winning this division. I still don't think they will win the division. I will say that right now.
Yeah,
but,
no, they have the Texans next week. As well, so.
Oh my god.
their season's over.
But yeah, I think this is going to be a huge win for Dallas here. I think CeeDee Lamb is going to have a nice day. I think Dak Prescott's going to be efficient with the football. Running the football is a different story. Maybe they can get
That's
a big...
messed up running the ball for Prescott to slide in the playoff game.
Okay, that's not what I was referring to. But anyways, we got to hurry up and wrap this thing up. So give me the Cowboys to win this
Like
one.
a Trojan, we're going to wrap this up really quickly. Anyway, 49ers, Cowboys. I have the 49ers winning as well, though.
I have the Cowboys
I know.
winning.
Well, you had the 49ers winning.
Yeah, it's pre-programmed that you're going to say that.
Yeah, right. Okay. I have the 49ers winning, though. 28-21. This is a must-win game for both teams. Let's be honest.
It really
This a game
is.
that they really both have to win. And it's going to come down to which team I trust more. And that is the 49ers every single time. I cannot see a world where the 49ers are 3-5. It's just, I can't see that. But especially with how they've played, especially these last few years. So I have to lean with my gut here, which says for the 49ers to win this game. And I think, hot take, after next week, Mike McCarthy will not have a coaching job.
Ooh.
I think that the Cowboys season is over if they lose this week. They have to play Houston, like I said. I don't know if it's actually next week. It might be one of the next couple weeks, but I know they play Houston very shortly after this game. So, for them, that's not fun. I do think that it'll be interesting to see how it goes, but I have to lean with my gut. My gut's telling me the 49ers. So give me San Francisco 28-21. At home, too. Oh, yeah, they got this one in the bag. Moving into the next game, we have the Steelers and the Giants. I have the Steelers winning 21-9. I think this is going to be a crapshoot of a game. This is going to be one of those weirder games that sucks. And unfortunately, it's on Monday night, so of course it's the only game that's on. But I have the Pittsburgh Steelers winning. Who do you have winning this one as we wrap up the week?
I think the Steelers are going to steamroll the New York Giants. See what I did there? Steamroll.
like they rammed into Andy Dalton's car.
Okay, stop talking.
Steamrolled into his
Terrible
car.
for that. I'm such a terrible person. For
That was actually the worst.
I literally just last second it just popped in my head. So it sounds funny. I'll just say it wrong.
Yeah, intrusive thoughts won.
It really did. But thank you guys, everyone that watched to the very end. We're on Spotify if you want to follow us on there. Greatly appreciate it. Watching over on YouTube, subscribe. Greatly appreciate it. I also got my score predictions on here as well. Again, thank you guys all so much for watching. I know you're the host, so you can send us out in this one.
Thank you guys so much, and we will see you all next time on the OT Podcast.
See ya.